Welcome to Spiritually Raw. We expose and explore controversial truths, myths, and theories surrounding the spirit world. Guests includes investigators, debunkers, and skeptics of the supernatural, unexplained, and flat-out unimaginable. Content discussed on this show is not necessarily the opinion of the cast of Spiritually Raw, and topics quite often are for mature audiences only. This show is not intended to replace any medical, financial, or legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Do you ever get spooked? Because there's a lot of crazy things that go on in the jungle, and you're under the influence of, where your mind is severely altered. Do you ever get spooked?
Oh, I get the you know what scared out of me on from time to time. I woke up screaming in the middle of the night. You're dealing with other forces there,
Right.
and there's an old saying or tradition with shamans. They call it whistling through the forest. So in essence, you go into the forest and you say, look I am here and I know I'm in your neighborhood. And I'm telling you that I know you're here and I'm here and I'm respecting you that I'm in your neighborhood. And I know that you have the power to either kill me or heal me. And I'm here with respect. And when we do ceremony, we sing ikaros. Ikaros are the magical songs. And the ikaros are in essence flattering the spirits. Many of them are feminine. Ayahuasca is considered the mother of all the other plants.
Right.
And when I'm in an ayahuasca visionary state and I'm having that communication, I consider it to be the voice of Mother Earth.
That's amazing.
Mom's talking to me. Hey, kid, straighten up or do this or that.
How is going through all of this changed, or has it changed your concept of God, if you would? And your relationship with a concept of a God or some sort of source?
Yeah. So without sounding as wrong as I will sound, I've come to the realization that I am God. I am a reflection. I am an aspect of the many facets, and so isn't everybody else.
Yes.
If you look at a big cosmic picture, no matter what you guys have done, no matter what I've done and where I've been right now in this meeting that we're having, we're reflecting aspects of each other. There was something inside of me that resonated with you and vice versa. So we're all connected. So I've come to have a deep, deep respect for where it all goes. And I consider, even though sometimes I don't always totally behave, everything I put into my body, I consider to be an offering to divinity. I consider it to be, so the Temple of Anthropocosmic Man, what they say is that it's a map of the cosmos. And it's also a map of the human body. And that in and of itself, in that definition, is holographic, because the holographic is inside. It goes infinitely smaller and infinitely larger. If you take a hologram and you cut it up in pieces, the entire image is in each piece that you cut up.
True.
To a point, right? So it's all connected.
You look very much at peace and very grounded, and just you're tight on your messaging. Do you feel like everybody is missing the boat by not really at least exploring plant medicine to open themselves up to get really connected?
Yes and no. It's not for everybody. There are some people, if you have psychological issues, stay away. I'm getting extreme here, but for argument's sake, if you're schizophrenic, you don't want to take this.
Right.
You'll lose it. You'll be out of it. I've seen other people who are very much tightly wound, and the monster comes out. Oh my God. Because one of the things it does when it gets into the subconscious is it brings up your shadow. And you have to be willing to face your shadow. Thank you, by the way, for those kind words about me being centered and grounded and all that. I've spent my life getting there. And I grew up in a violent place. I have a violent background. I never killed anybody, but I was a street fighter, all of that. And ayahuasca brought me back to the feminine that was missing in my life. I had no feminine. I went for 30 years without crying. I didn't have anything. And then after I worked with ayahuasca, for a point, the feminine came back. I went through a couple of years of being, for lack of better words, an emotional retard. The littlest thing would set me off, right? And then I got more balanced. And the amazing thing is that my intuition went up. and I started becoming more balanced. So now in the past 4, 5, 6 years, actually since 2015, when I had an intense jungle experience, I felt very balanced and grounded. I've talked to friends that they have all this anxiety, and I'm like, I really feel sorry for you because I don't.
That's fantastic.
What happened in that experience that changed your life?
Okay, I'm spoiling one of my works, but I'm going to do it for you guys because you're having me on the show. Yeah, so I went into the jungle and I was, okay, I'm expecting to get eaten by metaphorical jaguars. I'm ready to go full on pagan, show me the snakes are going to eat me. I'm ready. And I was raised Catholic, but I rejected that at a very, very, very young age. So, among other things, I was working with this one plant called Bobinsana, which is the secondary plant to the ayahuasca. And they say it connects you to the earth and connects you to the heavens. And I got into very profound dreams. So I got into a very profound lucid dream. And I was aware of myself in the dream, and I was aware of myself in the jungle at the same time. But the dream was more real than the jungle.
Okay.
And for once, I said, I'm not going to take over. I'm not going to fly. I'm going to just see how this unfolds. And I kept having all these things about a friend, Teresa, and it was Teresa this and Teresa that and Teresa this. And then I was asking people about Teresa, and people started telling me about Santa Teresa de Avila. She was a 14th century, if I remember right, Christian mystic. And I thought, well, that's interesting because I never heard of her, and there she is. Well, that night, I went into the ceremony, and I was in rapture with Santa Teresa de Avila for like 4 hours.
Whoa.
Wow.
She spoke to me in Spanish. I understood everything. It was telepathic, and I didn't know Spanish at the time. And I just let go, and it was just full on love. And then I started getting these erotic feelings, and I started getting all embarrassed. And she was like, "It's okay. Those are normal. It's like an expression of love, and don't be embarrassed for the feelings that come up in you." And I had this very profound experience that tied in totally with the lucid dream. So my mom's been gone 19 years now, but I always had a deal with her. As soon as I come out of the jungle, I give her a call so she'd know I was alive and I wasn't kidnapped by the shining path, and all those things, because you disappear for 10 days.
Right.
There's nothing. There's nothing there. So I get on the phone and I go, Ma, I know you're probably gonna freak out. You probably think I've really lost it, but I gotta tell you this experience I had. So I told her, and she got really quiet. I was like, Ma, you okay? I know you think I've lost it. I know you're freaking out. And she says to me, I've never told this to anyone before ever in my life, but you know that your grandmother was a hardcore Catholic. And I never fully bought into it. But when we were kids, your grandmother assigned your Aunt Joan, St. Joan, and she assigned me Santa Teresa de Avila. And every time I have ever prayed, I've prayed to Santa Teresa de Avila. That was a turning point for me.
Wow.
How can you beat that kind of a validation? The fact that she never told anybody.
Yeah, it gives me
That is
chills.
so
It
cool.
literally gives me chills.
That's such a
That is
beautiful existence about how
amazing.
it is so, and then how you go through life like that. When you're on the ayahuasca experience, and thank you for sharing this with us, is that are you blindfolded and you just kind of, it's the movies running through your head, or are you actually, can you see, or is it a combination of it all?
Well, the answer is yes. And what I mean by that is you can really be getting into some intense visions. And I've had periods where I've opened my eyes and closed my eyes and it made no difference at all.
Oh, wow.
So the analogy that I've heard is a radio station. Our minds are like radio stations, and we are vibrating. Like right now, for us to be here together right now communicating, we got to be in tune with each other. We got to communicate in a way that's working, right? So when you take ayahuasca, in my experience, in my opinion, you go into this vibration, and in that vibration, plants and animals will share that vibration. So every time you sing an Icaro, you're singing to different plants, and you're honoring them. for different qualities, and they all have different qualities. Some of them are visionary, some of them are anti-inflammatory, some of them are fortifying. They all have different purposes. But you go into that vibratory space, and also animals come into that space. And one of the fascinating things about ayahuasca is you can be doing it in New York City, Korea, or the jungle, and people will still see jaguars, they'll still see snakes, and they'll still see condors and other birds. And over time, this is a whole nother.
Because a lot of people do go to the jungle, but you can be in the city and have that similar effect. So there's nothing so much, okay, what is best to do in the jungle?
I've noticed so much is that the intuition that I am receiving on a daily basis, the messages are so clear, and they come in like, you hear a lot of people talking about, I get a download of this and a download of that. And that is the God's honest truth. Messages are just literally flooding in because the pineal gland is being decalcified. And